in.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the next of our PA Forum CSR Supporters Group sessions, which are always organised and carefully crafted by the wonderful Sarah James, who is the People and Operations Manager at Savient. It's wonderful to welcome you, Sarah. Thank you so much again for organising today. We do have two very special guests as well with us. We have Karl and Tracey, who are going to be talking about some sustainable solutions for those of you who have got a keen interest in CSR. And we are going to be recording this session so we can share that with our wider membership after today as well. So before we kick off, let's have a chat with you, Sarah. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I was actually, when things just drop into your kind of inbox. So I don't know if I mentioned it at the last CSR supporters group that Savient were up for an international CSR award.
Okay.
I couldn't, they wouldn't let me go to Miami to collect the award, but it's arrived in the post today, and we've been awarded a silver CSR award for our environmental and products and things that we've been able to offer and promote, as well as working with kind of Tracey, but also some of the stuff that we've done around our well-being and all the environmental factors and things as well. So yeah, I was really chuffed about that.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yeah.
So is it been shipped over from Miami then?
Yeah, so this parcel arrived yesterday in the office, and then I've had our kind of certificate literally in the inbox this afternoon. So I was like, oh, so that's another certificate and an award that we've got. So
well, you've already been to the Houses of Parliament, haven't you? So this is this is another accolade to add to the trophy box. We'll have to ask you, Karl, if you've got any trophy box.
I know, I was thinking that
I think Sarah needs one at this rate.
Yeah, we've moved into new offices. So we moved into offices on new offices the 31st of March. And at the moment, I'm taking over the windowsills that we've got in the offices. So yeah, I think we might need a we might need a trophy cabinet. So you'll have to let me know, Karl, if you do those as well.
Yeah, well, we do trophy cabinets, and I've got a trophy cabinet that's full of cups and medals that I won when I was about 9 or 10. I haven't won anything since then, so I could always empty that out for you, Sarah.
That'd be brilliant, thanks.
We'll get you a special award, Karl. We love you. It's great. So,
thank you.
Thanks so much for again organising this. So for those of you, if you are watching this recording back and wondering what's going on, why we've created the CSR supporters group, we wanted to, Sarah, who's incredibly passionate about CSR, and I feel as a community that we have so much of an opportunity to make an impact and do our own things for our, not necessarily for the network, but also for our businesses. Sarah approached me nearly 2 years ago now and asked if we could organise our CSR supporters group. So it's just so wonderful to be able to welcome some of you. Traditionally, PAs, office managers are working in a role that expands across the entire business, and so it's been really good. Sometimes you can just be at your desk one day and somebody lands this enormous project on you to have a look at, and you think, where on earth do I start and what do I do? And I think, Sarah, you've been really passionate about sharing your learnings, personal learnings with everybody, so thanks so much for that. So just from your perspective, the CSR supporters group, in your role, why is that important to you?
Yeah, so from kind of like the CSR awareness, so it is around that kind of that community, that engagement piece, how we can actually kind of raise that awareness within our own offices, but also how we can actually raise that awareness for our communities, our networks and other businesses. And I'm really kind of quite heavily promoting things within LinkedIn and being able to kind of share some of the initiatives that we've done. And I get lots of like positive conversations or questions from people of how they can kind of like implement things, which is why we kind of then speaking with Dan of like, how can we set up this CSR supporters group to be able to help you and help support you with some of the ideas that you want to be able to implement in your office. And I think one of the things, just the key things just to mention with the coronation weekend and the actual bank holiday, they've kind of suggested it's the big help help out. They're labelling it as the big help out, to be able to promote volunteering opportunities, being able to give back to your community. So on Monday, around our estate where I live in Bromsgrove, we're going to be doing a litter pick, to just be able, something that we can do to help out and give back to that community. So it's just being able to promote those opportunities as well, for like kind of family and also in the offices as well. So yeah, it's great.
Thank you. Well, this particular session, we're going to focus on suppliers. So we know that a lot of businesses, particularly, you know, some of the larger corporate companies might have sustainability or CSR managers already in place, but for particularly the SME community, there's not always the case. So generally, sometimes the PA or the business support manager or the office manager is juggling, trying to find and source suppliers that fits in with the business's ethos or what they're trying to do, or their objectives and achievements throughout the year. So Sarah, I know if you can kind of tell us about some of the examples when you are looking for suppliers. I know you've had the opportunity to work with Karl, but office, and one of the things we're going to talk about today is office furniture and recycling. So can you tell us, like, how important is it to you with suppliers that you know, with their CSR initiatives, and how much, you know, is that something that you're keen to look at?
Yeah, so, and I think this is a case for all businesses and everybody, when we're starting to either look at events or we're looking for services that we're looking to bring into the businesses, and lots of tenders and opportunities for new business opportunities are very much looking now about the being environmentally sustainable, looking at the supply chain, all the things that we covered as part of last year's kind of sessions of breaking down the elements of CSR from the social, environmental, the community, and the ethical kind of approach to things. So they're things that we're already busy doing our day job, that we also have to take those considerations into consideration for when we're looking at key suppliers that we're looking to work with. And that can be anything from kind of the supplies of the teas, coffees, refreshments, caterers that you're looking to bring in. You know, how are they actually looking to recycle any food waste? What's the products that they're delivering things in, as well as being kind of local suppliers that are using locally produced and grown produce. So there's things like that, as well as actually like the teas and coffees and your sugars and everything, that you're just keeping those things, the operational side of the office and business that's functional and key to what you're looking to do. And then you've got all like your larger events that you might be doing, from kind of all your stationery items to your IT equipment that you're purchasing, to any kind of events that you might be running, or new office refit. So I recently shared, kind of linked into Earth Day. So with our office move, I was having to actually purchase things from kind of the cleaning products to the bathroom and toilet supplies, our kitchen table. I found a local supplier that refurbs scaffolding boards, and they've made our kitchen table from scaffolding boards. So that's like something that we've kind of put in. But then looking at kind of like the bamboo and recyclable toilet papers and different supplies and things that you're just using in the office as well. And when I kind of started taking that step back and looking at everything that we'd actually implemented and been able to put into place, we have quite a significant impact on what the things that we're purchasing and the suppliers that we're working with. So ask those questions, challenge them, and get them to do the support you with the documents that you need to make sure that you're showing that you are considering those environmental and the sustainable factors and things as well.
Well, we know, Sarah, as you've moved offices twice now.
Yeah, we're not moving again for 3 years.
And obviously, you know, from a business support perspective, a PA or an office manager, for example, could be managing the entire office move, from sourcing to moving to implementation to furniture, electrics, telecoms, the whole shebang. So obviously your Savient is growing, and you've moved into new offices now, and you've had the opportunity to work with Karl before. So furniture, I think, sometimes can be something that can be the last thing sometimes that people think about. They think about purchasing all this new furniture, purchasing all this stuff but then they don't think about necessarily, well, what are we going to do with the furniture that we've already got? We just want this new office that's been built, and we want new. But that's not, you know, we live in a different world now. So what was kind of when you had the chance to work with Karl and ORS, what was it particularly that you were looking for?
Yeah, so when we did the first office move, it was refitted out with furniture that we already had. So it was a case of, right, we'll make use of what we've got, but we needed a meeting room table. So I actually met Joe from ORS at, it was actually the Learning and Development Conference last year. Got talking to him that they could provide solutions of refurbed and reused furniture for the offices, which is great. And so I contacted them with a requirement of, like, I'm looking for a meeting room table, and they were able to provide some options for me to be able to purchase those for the office. So then we've done the recent office move, and it's like, I wanted to be able to reuse this meeting room table. It was not very old at all. There was nothing wrong with it that it needed to be recycled. It was about, how do we reuse that in the office? But we needed more meeting chairs. So again, instead of going out and buying brand new meeting room tables, chairs for those meeting tables, we were able to speak to Joe at RS and be able to purchase exactly the same ones that we had before, and purchase the remainder of those, as well as pedestals, because it's like, there was no need for brand new pedestals to be under the desk. Yes, we have gone for shiny new desks in the main office bit, but the pedestals were fit for purpose, and we've purchased more of those to be able to use in the office.
Amazing. Can I just ask, what was the, like, do you feel like people's attitude, and I don't mean that, I'm trying to think of a better word here, but their attitude to more pre-loved, reused furniture has changed post-pandemic, do you think? Or is it something that, you know, do people automatically go for that thought of, we just want to buy new, or do people like, no, let's try and see what we can recycle or what's been reused before and we can purchase? Or I'm just wondering from your point of view.
Yeah, so I think it's actually talking points, and, like, honestly, it's like this scaffolding table. I know I didn't get that from ORS, but the scaffolding table is kind of almost like a talking point, and it's like, oh, you know, we've been able to customize that to the size that we exactly wanted in the space that we had in the kitchen area. So it's been custom made for us. It's been recycled, repurposed, and something's been reused, and people like that you know, we've been able to reuse something and make use of the furniture. And, you know, no one's kind of commented and thought, well, hang on a minute, the meeting room's not brand new. It might be a brand new refurbed office that we've moved into, but we've made use and reused the meeting room table and been able to buy additional chairs and furniture. So sometimes it's like that headache that your office managers and PAs might have of, like, oh gosh, we're doing an office move. It is a case of, what do we do with all that furniture and all the filing cabinets, the cupboards, meeting tables, everything else that you've got in that office? What can you actually repurpose and reuse in your new office space? And that's part of that planning and how you actually look at the space that you're moving into.
And it can, from a cost point of view, it's significantly, you know, you can save significant amounts of money. I mean, if you don't mind, Karl, I'll just introduce you, bring you in at this point. I hope that's okay. But Karl Ward has worked with us since, well, last 7 years. He's an avid supporter of the forum. He's supported me personally, and he's just an absolute diamond. Love working with you, Karl. And you've supported and helped many of our members, whether that's resulted in something, whether that's resulted in, you know, a piece of business, or whether it hasn't. He's always been there to help advise and guide and support. So, Karl, I just, if you don't mind dropping off your mute, please. How are you doing? Are you all right?
So am I live now?
You're live. You're on Channel 4. Don't swear.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm surrounded by ladies, so I'll watch my language.
Good. Thank you very much. How's things for you?
Right. Times are changing. You talk about sustainability, and in the past, people have literally paid it lip service, but it's changing. You know, people are now have decided what they're doing post-pandemic, And the amount of furniture coming into the marketplace now is unbelievable, and the quality of it is unbelievable. And people are literally considering used furniture, whereas before they were perhaps not, but they're being forced down that route by the sustainability message. People think used office furniture dealers are a bit like Steptoe and Son. Well, we're not. You know, I can't fit in a sink, but you know, we probably hold about 5,000 used desks in stock at any one time now.
Wow.
4,500, 5,000 chairs, operator chairs, boardroom tables, meeting tables, meeting chairs. It's endless.
If you don't mind me asking, Karl, is that because as the working from home now meant that there's this massive amount of office furniture on floors that people aren't using, perhaps, or offices that are kind of changing the way that they're working and more hot desking? Has that meant that there's this abundance of furniture at the moment?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of our furniture comes out of central London, and central London has still not got back to pre-pandemic office population. But companies now are going back. They might be going back, and they might be changing their desks to larger desks, so there's a bit more space in between. There's lots of fluidity in the market, which suits a company like ORS, because you know, we can supply used furniture, we can reconfigure offices, we can move people from office to office. So you know, our turnover, you know, compared to this time last year, is about 70% up, which is a massive jump. And that just shows you, you know, what companies are doing, how they're thinking. We're getting big inquiries. We did the workplace exhibition at the NEC last week, and we had some massive inquiries from companies, large companies, whose budgets are being cut and they can't afford new furniture. So they're now looking at used, sustainable furniture. And some of the furniture we're getting in is, you know, is less than a year old. I know somebody mentioned something about cost. Typically, used furniture is around about a third of the price of new.
Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, where do you keep it all, Karl?
I've got a 40,000 square foot warehouse here at Burton-on-Trent, which is full of furniture. I've got 20 containers around that unit, which are full of furniture. I've got 2 off-site storage units full of furniture, and I'm looking for more space, because my view is very simple: if you haven't got it, you can't sell it. And it's not like new furniture where you can go and order it and it gets manufactured and 6 weeks later it gets delivered. People, when they order used furniture, they want it now, Daniel. We can do that.
What would you say is like the most popular items that have been asked for? What would you say is the most unusual car that you've ever been asked for?
Well, I can't possibly comment on that, Daniel. All I will say is I have two girls, and they're brilliant, because we clean every single chair and sanitize every single used chair that goes out. And she keeps a running tally of what we send out on a monthly basis. And I think in March we sent out 711 used chairs.
Wow.
711. That gives you an idea of the size of the operation. So chairs are definitely very popular. Cupboards, meeting tables, desks. We're currently doing an installation in the centre of Birmingham. Paradise, where it's all changed in the centre. We're currently doing a 50-50 desk installation for a company called Overbury. Now, Overbury are a massive, huge company who do interiors, but they haven't got any used furniture, so they come to me.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I think we had I came to Karl because Arup's moving their head office, the Midlands HQ, to Paradise Circus.
Yes, that's right.
Sandy contacted me and said, "Oh, Dan, we've got 1,000 people in this office. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with all this furniture?" you know, you know, Karl and his team went in and had a chat, you know, go have a chat with Sandy and find out some solutions. So are you finding that you also do furniture removal, don't you? Even if they've purchased all the new furniture and they haven't, you can actually, you'll go into an organization and look at the furniture and see what you can take as well, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think somebody made the point, or I think you probably made the point. Everybody worries about the new furniture or the replacement furniture, but the amount of calls I get is, "Oh, can you remove my furniture? When would you like it done? Or tomorrow?" No, people forget, and you know, if without companies like mine coming in and taking it away, you'd end up in a skip. Well, skips are really expensive these days, and they're not very sustainable either. So you're quite right. I am the bottom of the food chain and the last thought of quite a lot of companies, and it beggars belief to me sometimes that people don't think, well, hang on, I've got 100 desks there, what am I going to do with them? Oh, don't know.
Okay. And how does it feel for you, you know, knowing that you're making this impact, you know, and making, you know, you're really making a difference by, I mean, the fact that you've even got that amount of furniture is crazy.
Yes.
But, you know, now seeing that, like, you know, your turnover's up by 70% and that you're getting all these people coming to you, it must be a great feeling to know that you're making a difference and supporting the environment and people's sustainability.
Well, we've gone under the radar for years and years and years and years, Daniel. We've been, you know, I've owned this company for 10, 11 years now.
Yeah.
And I would rather sell used furniture than new furniture.
Yeah.
But it's only since the pandemic that more and more people are talking sustainability. There's a large firm of lawyers in town, and the facilities lady there has been told she can't buy any more new furniture.
Wow.
She's got to buy used or consider used.
Just interested while we're on the call, and if you don't mind just tapping away in the chat box, is that a similar policy at your businesses for the people that are on the call today? Just wondered if that's is that something that's been spoken about, or is that perhaps something that might be on the agenda? You know, like Karl said, it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, 50 desks. It could be a chair, it could be a cabinet, or it could be a cupboard or a fire, you know, whatever you've got, Karl. But I would just wanted to see whether you have had that, whether the people on the call today have had that kind of conversation internally, because it's quite that's quite a big stance from that company to say we're not ordering any new furniture anymore. That's quite a commitment, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah. So we've had, someone said we have had a question in the chat box. So what is the cost offset of repurposing versus new?
Well, I think I told you that used furniture is about a third of the price of new furniture as a sort of guesstimate, depending obviously what type of furniture you order. But we get furniture from central London, and we get some really high-end furniture, really high-end. You know, we're talking about £1,300 a chair. Well, you know, we sell that for about a third of that.
£1,300 on a chair. Oh my God. But I think the other thing I remember when we went into lockdown, Karl, that you guys were also doing. So you were doing this delivery where you could have a desk and a chair delivered in a box to your house, couldn't you?
That's right. We did really well with that. A little small desk and a chair. We took the chair apart, put it in the box, and off it went.
Yeah. Oh wow. I love that. No, it's brilliant. And Karl, you know, thank you so much for all you do and on everything you do to support us. We really appreciate it. And well, obviously we've got lots of different things coming in the chat box. So let's have a quick look at that now. So we've had I had a new office budget which included furniture, so I had to consider the cost between new and reused. Got in the chat box about somebody potentially having a look at a refurb coming up, not looked at reuse potentially before, and not sure what happens to the old furniture. So that's great. Ordered new furniture recently for installation. If I'd have known about ORS, bless you, thank you. I'm not sure if we'll look into it. No, it's really good. I think it's fantastic, and it's these things that. When we come on and speak to Cheney now, and when we also speak to Tracey and Becky, it's all these things that we do, and our automation process is to go through it, but it's just about that extra initial thought really about, oh, actually, is there another solution or is there another way? So having the opportunity to meet you and talk to all the different suppliers is fantastic. So thank you, Karl. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We'll come over to you, Cheney, if that's okay. So tell us about your business. I'm going to just ask, can you just pop yourself off mute, please, lovely? Keen to understand. So we've met a few times, obviously via Sarah, and I know that you do a vast array of different things. So tell us a little bit more about you, lovely.
So we're a distributor of promotional merchandise rather than a producer, which means we don't make anything ourselves, but we've got a huge range of suppliers that we pick from. So we order from experts, you know, umbrella experts, pen experts, mug experts. And I think there's been a massive move towards things being sustainable. I think two things from COVID. I think COVID postponed the eco move because everyone, you know, it gave everyone something else to talk about for a couple of years. But since the world got you know, back to normal, it's really important to people. It's important, I think, that they know where things come from. Yeah. If it can be local, as in the UK or Europe, that's good. It's a lower carbon footprint as well, and kind of supporting local businesses is more important. I think it ticks a lot of different boxes, doesn't it? If the merchandise is actually eco, or where it's come from, what businesses you've supported along the way, there's lots of different options. But yeah.
If you'd say, Sarah, how have you worked with Cheney in your role?
Yeah, so when I moved roles and started working for Savient, it was very much word of mouth of like, you know, you ask your community, who do you use for your merchandise and your marketing materials and products and things, and Cheney came highly recommended. So we had a conversation because I'd got budget to be able to kind of do a bit of a rebranding, but as part of that, and you know, for me it's quite important to making sure that things are eco-friendly, that they're sustainable, that they're environmentally friendly as well, and had a good conversation with Cheney that kind of gave us those options and things to consider, from looking at recyclable notebooks. We have bamboo pens, and I know there's other ones that other pens and things that you can look at as well. Reusable bottles, reusable mugs, and different things. So being able to work with kind of like a local supplier, which Cheney's quite local to our office, but also for her to be able to give some options and considerations for products. And as everyone knows, Savient do a lot with outreach and CSR events. So being able to come up with some considerations of a PVC key ring that we could give out to students and school children, so for their keys and things, from kind of stickers that are like, we're on a roll, rather than having like individual stickers because it's like the waste and things. So just being able to have some of those options, and being able to talk to a supplier that isn't just trying to do that hard sell and sell to you, but actually trying to find the most cost effective, most sustainable and most suitable product for you to be able to promote your business and things as well, I think is really important.
I think that's the key. The key is actually talking to us, because if we can understand, if you've got strict policies, then obviously we can adhere to them, and we've got full traceability on ranges of our merchandise. But other things, like there's a fantastic manufacturer of travel mugs in Blackpool. So that might not be made from recycled plastic. It's made from normal plastic, but it's made in the UK and they are fully recyclable. It's so much better than a bottle that's been shipped all the way from China. It's kind of, you don't know what you don't know, do you? Until you look at things kind of objectively and maybe come at it from a slightly different angle. There's actually a lot you can do without necessarily spending a huge amount of money.
No, I think I was very privileged when I was working at Resorts World. We had an absolutely massive budget for exhibitions and things that we were doing. And I wanted to and I think Becky and Tracey will probably agree with me. When you're on a stand and you're at an exhibition, you want to be able to gather, get people over to your stand. And Karl would have had that last week at the NEC. You want to get people over, draw people over, and have something to give away. And I used to work at a hotel where we had no budget for that, and I was like, oh my god, I'm just literally gonna have to try and grab people and pull them. But it is, I remember we had tote bags, and we thought we were being really good with the environment by having tote bags, but actually a tote bag takes so much more. I think it was way more water to produce a tote bag than it would be to have a paper bag that was recyclable.
Yeah, and there's bags now made from recycled t-shirts. So, I mean, it moves so quickly. If we go to a trade show twice a year, and there's always new ideas, new ways of getting materials, and reusing old material is huge.
So can you give us some of the examples of some of the briefs that you get, Tracey, what the solutions have been?
Well, I'm having a debate with a client at the moment, because they give they're a big company, they give all their staff internally, they manufacture, so they want a mug with a lid. And they want metal mugs from China, because that looks eco. And I am really, really pushing these plastic mugs from Blackpool. They actually do an option made from recycling. They use their own waste to make the recycled options. And it is just changing that point. Like, do you want to look eco, or is it actually important to you that it makes a difference? Because either is okay, but it's two very different angles, and I think that's what we come across all the time.
And is it the cost comparison as well? Because if it's produced in China and shipped from China, it's probably cheaper than it is to be produced in Blackpool and shipped in the UK. So,
although increasingly less, to be honest. Now the shipping costs are so expensive. Actually, it's not. You can be surprised. It's sometimes not cheaper. It depends what volume they've been shipped over in. And leather products is another one. It is interesting, but everything that's made has got waste. So they're making leather products and trimming them. Then they take all the trims and mush it all up and use that mush to make nice recycled leather. So it's reusing waste.
Yeah.
And which is fantastic. That's what we're trying to push out to people if they want it.
Yeah. And are you finding that there are people are coming to you and asking for multiple solutions but say for example, like Sarah was saying about having recycled notepads. I'm literally looking over here I've probably got about 47 notepads, and I open a notepad and I write on the first page, I think I've got this lovely new notepad, and then I put it down and I've got another one that I'm writing in. But being the ability to recycle them. When we spoke the other day, Tracey, I said to you I had some pull-up banners, didn't I? And I was like, can I recycle those? And it's such a shame because you can't recycle them. So I think now I just need to make sure that I'm thinking about, well, I need these to last me so many years. So I need to make sure that, I'm not going to get a pull-up banner and then next week have a rebrand kind of thing. I need to make sure that I'm planning ahead and thinking more about what we can do. So what sort of interesting things have come through to you and you're like, oh, I'm not, that's very unusual. What's that about?
Well, what I would say is always ask the question. So if it's important to you, because probably cost more, but if you want a pull-up banner with a removable cassette, or we've got another option of our stakes, we call it the snake stand, and it's got a fabric banner that you can pull over where you can reverse that, or you can just you can just get a new sock or a new sleeve. So it's just trying to think. We can help you to think out of the box. And we do a lot of work for the Highways Agency and other government bodies, and for them the importance is traceability, because they're so concerned that something gets out into the media and it says, oh, they're buying plastic from China, it doesn't fit with the with the eco policy. So I think traceability is the biggest thing that we get asked for now. Where do things come from? What if it is made overseas? What can you give us the details of the factory and all that information, slavery policies, you know, if you want a fleece. We did a fleece for the Highways Agency made from recycled plastic bottles. Looks like any other fleece jacket that you would get. They wanted all the details of the factories, their slavery policies, because it is made in Bangladesh.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's really important. There's other things to think about. If you know, what are the conditions of the factory that this product was made in? It all matters.
Yeah. Amazing. I wanted just to ask Tracey and Becky, that's okay. So Tracey and Becky from Ashorne Hill, which is a beautiful venue in the Leamington Spa countryside, absolutely gorgeous. And I've always watched you keening at a lot of the events that you go to, because you're very careful about the promotional products or the gifts that you give away, aren't you?
Yes, so at the last few events, we've been really mindful of what we're giving away. So we've used seed cards. So they're infused with like poppy seeds, and people can take those away, or wildflowers, and actually plant the whole card into their garden, and, you know, have some lovely flowers bloom. That's one initiative that we're doing. We also are doing local gin. So we're supporting a local supplier, and have come up with our own Ashorne Hill gin, which is in glass bottles, which are recyclable. So that's been a real talking point. Certainly a way of getting people to our stand, because everybody likes a gin and tonic. But just going back to what Shani was saying, I think people are really mindful of sustainable products and what we're doing there. So we really encourage people to bring in their own water bottles, for example. Obviously, we're going to provide water if people need it, but we really would like to people that do normally bring in their own water bottle or normally bring their own notebook. So like Daniel said, people are very quick to do one page when they've got their own notebook in front of them. So it's just changing people's mindsets, and getting them to bring their own.
Yeah, and I think it's, I'll never forget, I was at Olympia in London, and we were doing a Confex, and we were on a shared stand, and there were some lovely ladies from a Staffordshire university group, and they were advertising their venue space, and these two men came up to them really intimidating and said, they had some marshmallows in a pot, and they had some lovely plastic bottles that with the branding on, and they had pens and pads and stuff, and they said, can I have one of those? Didn't speak to them, wasn't interested in engaging them, just wanted their promotional merchandise. And the lady said no, and he asked for her again. He was really rude to her, basically opened his bag, got a whole thing and shoved it all into a bag, literally just shoved the whole lot. And I had to get security and get them to get it all back, because the ladies didn't know what to do. They were being so intimidating to them. And I just thought to myself, are you that desperate for, like, are you really that desperate for a pen and a pad and a plastic bottle that you haven't got your own way, and that obviously you think it's appropriate to do that to people? I just thought to myself, like, that's why I think it's to do things that people want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People want and need and appreciate, and you know, gin and tonics aren't cheap. So I can imagine that's probably quite a costly gift, but you don't just want to kind of, you know, just feel like you're giving that out left, right and center. It's got to be because you want that person to feel valued and appreciated, and that they've taken the time to come and speak to you and do that, because yeah, it's all about the thought and process that goes into it, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have to do again. So as Tracey said, when we go to the exhibition, rather than now and taking things turn up with like 4 boxes, you get delivered a brochure, you've had that. Nothing worse than then leaving the exhibition at the end of the day, seeing your bags and your brochures. You'll be going out.
Sorry, say again, Becky. We're losing you a little bit. Come a bit closer to us, please, lovely. That's it.
I'm just cut Tracey out for a second. I was saying there's nothing worse than leaving an exhibition and seeing bins full of bags, people's brochures, and everything when you're leaving. So what we did this year, we were really mindful, and like I said, we got seeds, and then on there we had purpose statement printed, and then we put them in envelopes. In that envelope was one piece of paper with our QR code on, and it's branded and printed, and then people could scan that to our full brochure.
Yeah.
And printed 400 brochures that are then sitting in a cupboard.
Yeah.
We've also gone down the route of using bamboo cups. So all of our coffee cups were bamboo.
Yeah.
And last Christmas, the Christmas before, all of our Christmas presents were wooden. So they were all cheese boards and really nice wooden products that complement that. We planted a lot of trees in the grounds. So we were saying we're giving out these sustainable gifts. Actually, we're also replanting trees in our grounds.
Yeah.
That's a little thing. We are very, very conscious of what we do, especially giveaways, like you said, with the tin. We have a variety of gifts. It all depends on what kind of show. We don't turn up at a show with boxes of gin.
I think it is that thing where, you know, for example, like you think to yourself, we're going to an exhibition or we've got a show and we need a new brochure. And the automatic thing is to get the brochure designed and get the brochure printed. But it's about thinking about, like, when I go to an exhibition now and people give me brochures, I say, please don't, I don't want to take a brochure if that's okay, because I don't need it. It will literally end up in the recycling box, and it's just like, I don't need it, but I will. Just email me PDF. I can save it on my laptop, put it in the cloud, and it's all there, it's all ready. So Tracey, are you finding that particularly with printed products that people are being a little bit more mindful, because print can be sustainable as well, can't it?
Yeah, QR codes are huge, and you can put QR codes and the little AI markers where you scan it and it opens up directly to a promotional video.
Yeah.
And you can put that on anything. So you put, rather than printing a catalogue, you're printing that QR code on a useful, practical gift. And we used to be scared of QR codes. Now we just scan them to see where it takes us, don't we? Everybody know what's this. So I think that's a great way. Yeah, I think printed catalogues are definitely old school. And I might have even got a QR code on the clip of my pen. So now, you know, we can print them really small. We can print them on doesn't have to be, you don't need a large print area.
Yeah.
That technology is definitely improving all the time.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Tracey. Really appreciate it. It's lovely to hear from you. And just to finish off today, we just want to bring Tracey and Becky back in, because as a venue, so I think, you know, what Sarah was talking about earlier, we could be looking at venues for events. And it's about, you know, what is that sustainability policy? I've worked at venues before, and it's been challenging to try and work out, what do we do with food waste? What do we do when things are running out? You know, when we've got all these food left over from conferences, or we've over catered for all the banqueting that we're doing, and the chefs ordered too much food, or we've got too much promotional merchandise. How do we kind of, you know, if we don't need it anymore, what do we do with it? So you, both of you, and Ashorne Hill have just been awarded an accreditation, haven't you?
We have. We're very lucky.
We've just been awarded the Platinum ECOsmart Award. So we're very passionate about the sustainability journey that we're on. We know it's going to be ongoing, but we have put so many initiatives in. I'll touch on the food, and then I'll let Becky, because she is the guru of everything that we've done, tell you a bit more about it. But one of the things that we have implemented regarding zero food waste is we do a too good to waste. So if there is a day where the chefs have made too much of something, an email will actually go out to all the staff, and you can actually buy for, you know, 75p or £1, a full meal. So you could have a pumpkin curry, you could have coconut cake, jacket potatoes, which is a lifesaver if you've got children, that you can just pop it in the microwave when you get home. What they also do is use every bit of veg or food. So they'll make pakoras, they will put in the staff dining room the cake cuttings, they'll put all the nice cakes out for our clients, and then do all the edges and bits and bobs. We get all the leftovers of the crumbs. But you know, the staff appreciate that, And also it really reduces any wastage in the kitchen. But I'll let Becky tell you a lot more about some of the other initiatives we're doing.
I remember one of the venues I used to work at, we always used to call lunch sausage surprise, because we always used to know that it was going to be the sausages left over from breakfast. And it was like, how many things can you do? Like, how many meals can you
Sausage 5 ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You just reminded me of that. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
No, not at all. To be fair, we can't complain. We're very, very lucky the food we get in our staff dining room. But like Tracey said, the too good to waste has been great. Obviously, the whole point of it is that there shouldn't be any waste. So some days we're waiting for the too good to waste to come out because we're desperate for some food tonight, and then there's nothing. The chefs have done their job. But obviously we're very, very lucky working for Ashorne. The sustainability team and the whole forward thinking of Ashorne Hill has been fantastic. So to get platinum has been hard work, but it's something that we think every venue should be doing. We've created all different aspects. We've got nature trails within our grounds. We've where we've put bees, we've got some new bees, beehives that we've added. We bottle all of our own water on site, so we have our own water bottling station. Our kitchen has actually gone net zero in waste, so everything is recycled or reused, which is absolutely huge in a place our size where we've got over 40 meeting rooms. Is incredible. The restaurant offering to keep on the food, we've taken away a buffet, so we have no buffet option, and everything is waiter served and plated, which cuts waste significantly. A huge waste if you have a buffet, but everything plated. It also means our chefs get to plate it how they want it to come out, so our food is what everybody talks about. So that's you've
got a very good patience with chefs, I'll tell you that, because chefs chefs are not,
but they do offer a lot of choice as well.
Yeah.
So we've not taken away the choice from the customers.
No,
there's lots of choices on the menu, but it's just a much better way of serving.
Yeah. And in terms of our meeting room, like Tracey touched on, so obviously we have water refilling stations all throughout Ashorne Hill, but we actually send out with all of our events, please ask your delegates to bring their own refillable water bottles on site. Lots of people do. Lots of people walk around with their water bottle now. Please bring your own pads and pens. If not, we've got pads and pencils in our meeting rooms, of course we have, but lots of people again have their own notepad where they like to keep their notes, writing on one piece of paper for one meeting and then having to pull that out or take a whole book home. We've got rid of pens completely, so everything is pencils. So at the end of the meeting, obviously people do take away with them, but if not, they just get sharpened and put back in the meeting room. Our coasters, I've got a little example here. All of our coasters are recycled tyres. So all of our coasters throughout Ashorne are recycled tyres. We have absolutely no single-use plastic on any of our coffee stations. We do have plastic cups, but they're actually like the plant-based cups that we could, again, can be completely recycled. And we've just had 8 electric charging points fitted in our car park as well.
Wow.
So,
I mean, having been to your venue and knowing how many facilities you've got, that's a big job. So a huge congratulations to you all, because that is a lot.
I'll just touch on one more thing we're working on, because obviously sustainability is a huge thing, but we also, again, what you're saying about local community and legacy. So I'll pass you back to Tracey. So a new incentive we're coming up with, which we put into place in the next couple of months, is how to leave a legacy and how to use that, look after our local community.
So we're just introducing very quickly, because I know people want to get, we're just introducing something called the 4th course or the final course. So, you know, lots of our customers come here, they've had a free meal from their companies, have actually paid, they haven't had to pay themselves. So what we want to introduce is supporting a local charity and putting what we're calling the final course on the menu with a QR code that they can then donate from as little as, well, whatever they want to donate, from 50p to £10, as a way of giving back and leaving a legacy. And we'll also be working with the air ambulance service, so putting one of their clothes banks in our ground, so we could, all the housekeeping, if we have you know, pillowcases, duvet covers, throws that we're not using anymore, the staff can bring in all their clothing and uniforms, that we can have that on site and accessible for people to recycle.
Amazing. Sarah, is it making you want to go there?
Yeah, I've literally got your website up at the same time. You've been chatting away.
You have to come over, Sarah. We'll show you lots more. We've always got something going on here.
Just obviously for those of you that are on the call, is that interesting to hear from a venue side as well? Because we also think, you know, we sometimes we landed with the brief about organising an event, and ideally the venue is here, and we've got the processes along the way. But suddenly now it's kind of thinking about the venue here and what that venue can offer and what that impact is making into the community and the local area and how it helps you as well. So I think that's been really, because I've been out of venues for like 2 or 3 years now, so I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I think that's been really interesting. What did you think, Sarah?
Yeah, and I think it's actually when we're looking for venues, it's probably things and questions that we're not considering. But I think now it's very much at the forefront of our minds of actually looking at a venue and being able to work with a venue that is putting a number of environmental considerations, how they're actually being more sustainable, and all the little products and things is like that makes a great kind of a story for you as a company if you're working with these kind of venues and these different providers, and also isn't that a great message for your team as well, that actually like we've thought about these, we've considered it, and we can actually work with these venues to hold our events as well. So yeah, I love it.
It almost makes you feel proud that you've had the event there as well, you know. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Karl, Tracey, Becky and Sarah, who, you know, have come together today to be able to deliver this. And to all of you who have been watching, or if you're watching this back, thank you so much for listening. We'll make sure that we send out everyone's details, so if you want to get in contact with them directly, we'd love to be able to hear from you. But thank you ever so much. We hope that's been really insightful and giving you some ideas and getting the fire burning for what's kind of, you know, what you've got coming up in the future and having to think about as well. So
thank you for hosting it, Dan. It's very very kind of you, and it's been really interesting. I've taken the two girls have taken a nice little note. I'm going to get myself a business card with seeds in, so I'm going to plant it. It grows office furniture. How about that?
Brilliant. And then Shady can help you source the seed that grows office furniture.
Yeah, we can do seed paper, no problem.
Tremendous. Absolutely. And also, Daniel, the sausage surprise. I don't want to know what that is.
No, it wasn't. It was tasty, Karl. That's all. It's fine. But thank you all so much. Have a brilliant rest of the week. Have a great bank holiday, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye. Thank you.
you.
Nice to meet you all. Bye.
Bye.